Ben Vinoy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, Commissioner.
All right, I think we're good to go. Okay. Then we will get started. All right, we will call to order this commission meeting on June 21st, 2023. We typically start each of these meetings with a prayer, reading, or thought, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have any volunteers from the audience for a prayer, reading, or thought? How about for the Pledge of Allegiance? Bert, you'll do the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, so we'll start with a prayer, reading, or thought. If we don't have anybody from the audience, we'll bring it up here. You'll do that? All right, Commissioner Sakovich, why don't you start us off?
Our Father in heaven, we are very grateful to live in this country where democratic processes are represented throughout the world, throughout this nation, and thank Thee for the opportunity to live at this time, this age, and grateful now to be able to serve at this time, and ask for Thy company as we discuss and deliberate the items that are presented to us today. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will now proceed to build our agenda. Anything that we don't hold will go on to the consent agenda and be passed unanimously. So we're going to add a few extra instead of 1 through 10. Let's do 1 through 12. Do you have anything to hold 1 through 12?
I don't have anything to hold, Madam Chair.
No, I read all the details and I don't have any to hold.
Right, me either. All right, how about 13 through 23?
None for me, I believe. Commissioner Sakovich.
I was going to ask that we have an outline presented by the assessor on number 23. Doesn't have to be in
Assessor
detail, but
or the
tell us what
auditor?
we were looking at on that update.
Assessor or auditor? Who? Oh, you're the
23,
assessor.
then.
Okay.
Hold that one.
All right, we will do that. We can do that. And then as far as closed sessions go, I know that we need number 25 and 27, so we can strike 24 and 26. Does that sound good?
That
Right.
works.
Colleen, you want to repeat that back to us?
Okay. Then number 23, adopt a
Wait, hold
resolution.
on. Colleen's she's gonna repeat it back to us real quick, to make sure. The
Okay,
minutes.
I have a hold on 23, strike on 24 and 26.
Correct. All right. We will hold items 25 and 27 as stated. Perfect. Okay. All right, Commissioner Sakovich.
Okay. Number 23, adopted a resolution establishing the 2023 tax levies for Utah County, Utah. And I would ask that the assessor kind of gives a review of what we were looking at on that chart.
Well, let me talk about some general things first. 68% of our properties are single-family homes. So we really didn't increase the value of our homes from last year. They were here in the January of 2022. They were here in 2023. In the middle, they kind of went up and back down. But from point to point, they're basically the same in value. The difference in single-family total value is just new homes that got built. So that increased the total value of single-family properties. We had a little bit of an increase in high-density value. So that's twin homes, townhomes, and condos. Not to say that they necessarily had such a difference from single-family homes, but we found that there were some high-density properties last year that were just simply too low. They had to be corrected. And then commercial properties, which are only 12% of our parcels, but 20% of our taxable value, we had to raise those quite a bit. We noticed that since COVID, commercial properties, we couldn't get a stable indicator of what commercial properties were worth. Some retail places were doing great. Some retail places like restaurants and stuff were not. So it was kind of all over the board. Your Costco's and your Smith's, they were selling off the shelf. Well, some places were just gone. So it's taken a couple years for us to kind of get a stable reading of where commercial properties were. And to pass what we call sales ratio, we had to raise basically commercial properties about 12% from where they were last year on average. Some places more, some places less, but generally speaking, about 12% from last year, which is a little bit of a concern because we are always late with our data and what we have available. There's some people that say that actually right now commercial properties aren't really going up. So when we raise values to correct, but in reality there's no change in the market, then we get a lot of appeals because they say there's no justification for this. But we have to match our values to what they're selling for. So it may look like it went up, but really we're probably raising it up to where it should have been. We just didn't know enough because of the instability that we've had ever since COVID for commercial properties. So does that answer your questions?
Yeah, that clears up a couple things. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Commissioners, do you have any questions on the tax rate chart itself, or would you like a overview?
I'm just pointing out that the tax rate did decrease.
Yeah, there's some good news on the rate chart this year, especially for single-family residences and homeowners. The last few years, homeowners have basically, as Bert, our county assessor, I'm Bert Harvey in the auditor's office, and our county assessor, Bert Garfield. That's not going to get confusing at all in future years. But as Bert 1.0 pointed out, that home values, the homeowners have basically been bearing the brunt of the property tax increases for the last few years because that's where most of the market value was surging, was in single family homes. Those values have now stabilized and are either holding or in some cases are going down this year. And high density housing and commercial is now increasing to match where their market value should be. So basically the burden of property taxes is gonna have a bit of a shift this year from homeowners over to commercial and high density. In cases where the reappraisal value for a taxing entity is holding or is declining, the tax rate stays or will adjust up in order to guarantee an entity the same amount of revenue. In cases where the reappraisal value is still increasing, the tax rate adjusts down. In the case of Utah County, again, this is why I'm saying this is good news for homeowners. Our rate actually adjusted down still, which meant that our overall value in the county still went up in reappraisal. We still have growth, which means that new revenue from new properties that weren't there last year are coming online this year, and therefore we start collecting property taxes on them. But overall, the county values were stable enough that there was still a slight increase, which means the rate decreased a little bit. For homeowners who for their county taxes, that means any homeowner whose value stays the same or even goes down, we'll see a decrease in the amount of taxes they're paying to the county as that portion they're now not paying shifts over to higher value properties in different sectors of the property value. So again, like I said, a lot of good news for homeowners in cities where there are a number of cities where their reappraisal value is down year over year, and so those cities are seeing an increase in their property tax rate. Wow, I suddenly got deeper there. Are seeing an increase in their property tax rate, but overall homeowners whose value is staying stable or going down will probably likely see a less property taxes this year that they owe than they have in previous years, and that's good news. So that's what's going on.
Excellent, thank you.
Madam Chair, Paul Jones here with the Attorney's Office with Bert, what are you, 2.0? Or are you some other designation?
Bert,
Bert 0.9's permission or consent. The title of the resolution references 2022, so we should update that with 2023.
That'd be a good idea.
And the attestation line somehow moved over to our auditor. That should have stayed with the clerk, so the attest line should be
Gotcha.
Mr. Davidson.
As we sign it on the resolution. So not on the tax rate, but the resolution.
Just the resolution. Yep.
Okay, so we can hear a motion with those amendments.
I'll so move.
There you go.
How's that? Is that short enough? Reader's Digest version?
That was a great way to do it. I appreciate
You
that.
outlined it well, and he gave it, so.
Absolutely. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion on that? All right, let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes 3-0. Okay, do we have any public comment? Any online, Helene? All right, that is the end of our commission meeting, our open commission meeting today, and we will go into closed session. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
13 minutes. Not our best, but pretty darn close.